Everything you think you know about money is wrong. Not some of it, all of it. The responsible decisions, the smart ones, the ones your brain made with total confidence while your savings stayed exactly where they were. Your brain has been running a script you never agreed to, and it has been doing it so quietly, so convincingly that it never once felt like a lie. It felt like you. Most Americans are running this script right now and have no idea. Today, we name it, but first, you need to see where it started. Your brain did not learn about money from a textbook. It learned from watching, from feeling, from the first time you saw someone stressed about a bill, or relieved when a paycheck arrived, or proud when they paid something off. Before you ever earned a dollar, your brain had already built a complete financial operating system, full of rules, shortcuts, and beliefs about what money means and how it works. The problem is that most of the rules in that system are wrong. Not wrong in obvious ways, wrong in ways that feel completely correct, wrong in ways that have been protecting themselves from examination your entire adult life by disguising themselves as wisdom, responsibility, progress, and protection. Today, we go through them, not all of them, the ones doing the most damage, the ones you have been nodding along with for years without ever stopping to ask whether they were actually true. The first group, the lies that feel like wisdom. These are the lies your brain presents as settled knowledge. You do not question them because they do not feel like beliefs. They feel like facts, and facts do not get examined. You tell yourself you are not a money person. You've probably said this out loud more than once, maybe even laughed while saying it because it feels like self-awareness rather than self-limitation, and your brain uses that cover to lock the behavior in place before you ever think to question it. You tell yourself you are bad at math, so investing is not for you. The math required to build wealth is not complex. It is consistent, and somewhere your brain knows the difference. But complexity is a more comfortable reason to stay on the sideline than the real one, which is that starting feels uncomfortable and uncertain, and your brain would rather be wrong than uncomfortable. You tell yourself rich people had advantages you did not have. Some did, and that's real and it matters. But your brain takes a true observation about the world and uses it to close the door your situation has not actually closed. Because the question it does not want to face is what the people without advantages did differently. And that question is the only one that leads anywhere useful. You tell yourself money does not buy happiness. This is partially true, and your brain knows exactly how to use partial truths. It applies this one at the precise moment a spending decision is being made to make the spending feel neutral, and at the precise moment a saving decision is being made to make the saving feel pointless. And it's been doing this so consistently you stopped noticing it was happening. You tell yourself you will figure it out when you earn more. Your brain has been saying this at every income level you have ever reached. It said it at your first salary. It said it after your first raise. It will say it after the next one. The amount was never the variable. The certainty trap. Your brain presents the lie as a fact, so you never think to check if it is true. Before we go further, if you are getting value from seeing the blueprint today, hit the like button. It tells your brain this information is worth coming back to. The next group is the ones your brain calls responsibility. And those are harder to question because questioning them feels irresponsible. The lies that feel like responsibility. Your brain is not trying to sabotage you here. It genuinely believes it is protecting you. That is exactly what makes these ones so difficult. You tell yourself you will save what is left at the end of the month. This feels organized and intentional. It is the sensible approach. Handle your obligations first. But your brain has structured the month so that saving always arrives last, which means it always arrives after everything else has already claimed its share, which means it almost never arrives at all. You tell yourself paying off all your debt before investing is the responsible move. What your brain is protecting you from here is something that feels genuinely heavy every single month. The weight of owing, the low-grade stress of a balance that does not go away. And that protection makes complete emotional sense, but the cost of delaying compound growth for years to feel debt-free is a number your brain never shows you, because if it did, the protection would feel less like wisdom and more like a trade you never consciously agreed to make. You tell yourself you deserve this purchase after working so hard. Your brain is not wrong that you worked hard, that part is true. But it's using a true fact to manufacture permission for a decision that has nothing to do with how hard you worked and everything to do with needing relief right now. And relief is a legitimate human need, which is exactly why the lie works every single time. You tell yourself you are being careful by keeping your money in a savings account. Careful feels like protection, and your brain is right that it is protecting you from one kind of loss, the visible kind, the kind where a number goes down on a screen and you feel it immediately. What it is not showing you is the invisible loss happening in the background while the number stays the same, because inflation does not announce itself and your brain does not have an alarm for losses it cannot see. You tell yourself you are not ready to invest yet. You need to learn more first. Your brain is known enough right now to start. It is known enough for longer than you want to admit. But starting before you feel completely ready is genuinely uncomfortable, and your brain will always find one more article to read, one more concept to understand, one more reason why next month is the better time to begin. The virtue disguise. Your brain wraps the lie in the feeling of doing the right thing, so questioning it feels irresponsible. We have not even reached the lies your brain calls progress yet, and those are the ones most people stay stuck inside the longest because they feel the most like movement. The lies that feel like progress. The dangerous thing about this group is that they come with the feeling of momentum. You feel like something is happening. Nothing is happening. You tell yourself you're going to make a plan this weekend. Your brain has been scheduling this exact conversation with itself for longer than you want to count. The weekend arrives, something else happens, the plan stays scheduled. This works because the intention to plan gives your brain almost the same relief as the plan itself. The problem feels addressed, the urgency drops, and by Monday, the window has closed again. You tell yourself that researching is the same as preparing. Every time you open a new tab, your brain gives you a small hit of progress, curiosity engaged, problem being addressed, and it feels genuinely like doing something. Because to your brain, it is doing something. The account balance does not share that assessment. You tell yourself you almost have enough saved to start. Almost is your brain's favorite distance. Close enough to feel real, far enough to postpone the discomfort of committing. Almost has been the answer to when are you starting for longer than the actual gap would have taken to close. You tell yourself you tried that and it did not work. One attempt followed by one result is not a conclusion. It is a data point. But your brain files it as a conclusion because conclusions feel more stable than questions. And stability is something your brain will choose over accuracy almost every time. You tell yourself that checking your account balance regularly means you are managing your money. Awareness and management are not the same thing, and your brain knows this, but checking creates a feeling of engagement that is easier to access than the actions that would actually move the number, so your brain offers the easier one and calls it the same thing. The motion illusion. Your brain gives you the feeling of moving forward, so you never notice you are standing still. The next group is the lies your brain calls protection. And these are the ones doing the quietest damage. They feel like caution. They feel like wisdom applied under pressure, but your brain is not protecting you from the actual threat. It is protecting you from the feeling of the threat, which is a different thing entirely. You tell yourself you cannot afford to lose money, so investing is too risky. Your brain is protecting you from the visible loss, the kind where a number goes down on a screen and you feel it immediately, while completely ignoring the invisible loss of not growing your money at all. Because one of those losses triggers your brain's alarm system and the other one never does. You tell yourself you are waiting for the right time to start. The right time is a concept your brain invented to make inaction feel strategic. Markets have always been uncertain. Life has always had better and worse moments. The right time has never arrived for anyone who made it a precondition. You tell yourself a little debt is fine because everyone has it. Normalizing a cost by pointing at everyone else paying it does not reduce the cost. It reduces the urgency to address it. And your brain uses the crowd as evidence because crowds feel like consensus, and consensus feels like truth, and neither of those things has ever paid a balance. You tell yourself you will be fine because you have a job and a plan. A job and a plan are not the same as a system. Your brain is conflating two things that feel similar but produce completely different outcomes. And it does this because the job and the plan create a feeling of security that is easier to access than running the actual numbers, which might not produce the same feeling. You tell yourself that thinking about money too much is stressful and unhealthy. This is sometimes genuinely true, but your brain has learned to use the language of well-being to make financial avoidance feel like self-care. And the stress of not thinking about it compounds quietly in the background the same way interest does, invisibly, continuously, and faster than you expect when you finally add it up. The safety trap. Your brain calls avoidance caution,
So the thing it is protecting you from never has to be faced. Before we get to the last one, this is the one your brain will resist the most. Not because it is the most painful, because it is the most personal. You believe that the way you handle money is just who you are. Not a habit, not a pattern, not a learned response to experiences that happened before you were old enough to choose them. You. Sit with that for a second, because this one is not obvious and it is not loud. It is the quietest belief in the entire system. Running underneath every lie in this video, every certainty your brain calls a fact, every act of avoidance it calls responsibility, every feeling of motion it manufactures to replace actual movement, every protection that is really just fear with better branding, they all stay in place because your brain has convinced you they are not patterns. They are personality. And you don't try to change your personality the way you would try to change a habit. You just live inside it. The identity lock. Your brain makes the pattern feel like the person. So changing it feels like losing yourself. Here's what all of this means. You are not bad with money. You're not undisciplined. You're not behind because of who you are. You're running a script your brain built before you were old enough to question it, using rules it inherited from everything it observed before you had any say in the matter. And you've been running it so fluently, so automatically that it has never once felt like a script. It has felt like thinking. It has felt like deciding. It has felt like you. You don't need more money to change this. You need to see the script clearly enough to stop reading from it without knowing you are reading from it. Today, you named 5 of the lies. That is not a small thing. Naming is not the same as fixing, but it is the only place fixing has ever started. Your brain cannot run a pattern the same way once you can see it clearly. Not perfectly, not immediately, but differently. And different is where it starts. Subscribe, because next week we go inside the brain that keeps telling you there is not enough time while spending the time you have on everything except the thing that would actually change it.